Can I have your attention?
Can I have your attention?
Can I have your attention?
This
is your conscience speaking.
is your conscience speaking.
Racing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Sorry, I've been away for a little bit, but my name is Christian, and welcome to This Is Your Conscience Speaking. And we have a special fucking treat for you guys today. I want to introduce y'all to the 4'11" Italian muscle mommy. Excuse me, your favorite Italian muscle mommy.
Yeah.
I had to make the correction. She's been on Instagram for 8 weeks.
8 weeks, yeah.
And has grown a following of about 120,000 followers.
125 now, brother.
125.
As we record.
Which is fucking nuts.
Right?
Fucking nuts.
Right?
But yeah, she is joining us today.
Yes, sir.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited. It's my first podcast.
I'm very excited to pop your podcast virginity.
Right? Thanks, brother.
So naughty.
Glad it was you.
I'm so glad it was me. So before we get into anything,
Yeah.
I know you want to talk a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, okay. So, well, basically, I always fluctuated with my weight.
Yep.
So, the biggest I ever got was 200 pounds.
Crazy.
Crazy. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so the look was heroin chic. You remember that? It was like emaciated looking women, and look, I don't have that type of a body. Like, my frame is not that. And I always tried to hold myself up to that standard or try to get there, whether that was through not eating, whether that was, led to binge eating. Thank God I never did purging. But yeah, just fluctuated up and down, and I tried every trendy diet.
It sounds a little bit like my story.
Right?
Yeah.
Everything. It's like you saw it everywhere. You tried the next best thing, and you would drop the weight, and then you'd gain it all back and some. So I finally figured out something that worked for me, which is just basically old school, like working out properly and proper nutrition, not doing any fads, not demonizing any types of foods.
Yeah.
So since I found that, this kind of Instagram thing came out of nowhere. It was like not planned. I just got to this good place, and I was working out in the gym, and decided, like, let's just record some, see what it is. I'll throw it up on something, see what happens, and here we are today.
It just fucking blew up.
It really did. Kind of, yeah. I didn't expect that. Nobody thinks that. I've never boosted a post or a reel. I've never paid for anything. It's like 1,000% organic.
That's what I was going to ask you, because people say you might pay for followers.
Right, absolutely not. Everything's organic. If anything, I want to make money on this. I'm not going to spend money on something like that. To me, that's fake, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's how this all started. But a little bit about me. I was born and raised Southern California.
California.
That's right.
No time part. Sorry.
Yes, we do.
I had to bring a little Tupac in.
Right? So, born and raised there. The culture there growing up, not everybody gets into this, but I did. Like, I wanted to, be an actress or be in movies, be a singer. Although I can't sing very well, but I really thought, like, it's not bad. So I tried to be in bands. I did that whole jazz, but I never, like, fully committed, right? And then life kind of happened. I got married. I married the guy that took me to my prom. So I never really dated. Basically, like, the first guy that said, I love you, was like, okay, let's get married. You're a young kid. You don't know any different. It was still like the culture I grew up in, being Italian.
Yeah.
If you didn't have somebody, something's wrong with you. Why don't you have a boyfriend? So the first guy that came along, I married. And we had a son, and we moved out here to New Mexico, had my daughter.
Yeah.
I built my own business online, which is a 6-figure business. It's going great.
Let me dust your shoulder off a little bit. Yeah.
so, all of those things you kind of lost my dreams in a way, right? You kind of become how life floats you. So that's where I was. Marriage wasn't ideal. So I chose to leave that. And at 35, I was single, moved out, got my own place. And yeah, being 35 and single wasn't fun. I was just about to turn 36. So yeah, I've been divorced for 5 years and it's a shit show out there, brother. How are you doing out there?
It's hard in these streets.
Right?
No, but in all seriousness, though, before I talk a little bit about that,
Yeah.
I know you mentioned you were 35 when you got divorced.
Yeah.
5 years ago. Can y'all believe she's 40?
40. The big 4.
She's fucking 40, getting hit on by like 20-year-olds, but we'll get into that
Oh.
in a little bit.
Oof.
But yeah, I mean, I've been single for the past 4 years, but I don't really say I was single. Well, I said 4 years, but I consider me being single maybe for the past year and a half because this is me truly not talking to anybody.
Yeah.
Me just focusing on myself and growing. And I'm in this place of fucking peace.
Right.
And she and I have talked before about this, but it's kind of like I'm nervous to bring somebody into that equation
Yeah.
because I'm going to protect my peace at all fucking costs.
Absolutely.
You know?
I think we got to that same place.
Yeah. So that was a great segue into today's episode because since she's been divorced for 5 years.
5 years. It'll be 5 years in July.
Yeah, I've been single for 4 years. She and I have both talked about how difficult it is to try to date in your late 30s or being 40.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where it's like we don't even know how to navigate it in today's world.
No.
Because back in the day, I can tell you, like, it was so fucking easy.
It was simple. Well, I didn't really do it, but the concept seemed simple.
I know the fact that you married the guy you went to prom with. Like, for me, it was like I saw a girl, I thought she was cute. This was like back in the day. Would find a reason to talk to her. Right? And just be like, oh, I saw we had the same class together.
Right.
I had no fucking game whatsoever. Right? I'm like, do you want to study together sometime? She'd be like, yeah. And she's like, I think you're kind of cute. And then conversation would go from there. It was a bunch of bullshit.
Right?
But
Simpler times.
that's how we grew up. But
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, you have like the 8th grade boyfriend or whatever, and you held hands. That's what it was. Now, 8th graders, it's wild. But it's like, that's as far as I went. I think I remember going on maybe like a date or something, but it was somebody that was in my class in school.
Yeah.
Like going out to dinner or going to the movies. And again, it wasn't like a steady boyfriend. And if you were even had the title boyfriend, it lasted like a month.
which is crazy because if you think about what was the typical date back in our day was going to the movies,
going out to dinner.
right? But now people aren't even going to the movies anymore. They're going to Netflix and fucking chill.
Well, that just equals Netflix and we're going to have sex.
Yeah. And
So
I'm
it's
like, which is fucking terrible if you're at a very young age.
Right?
Yeah, so kids, if you're going to do it, stay protected.
That's right. That's right.
No, but like since you do work from home most of the time, right?
Yeah, I do.
Because she talked about having a 6-figure business. Dust the shoulders off. And I don't think these guys know this, but I do work from home too.
Right.
So now I don't even have the avenues to even just meet people at work because I go in the office like twice a month.
Right.
And it's like the same people that I always see. Mm-hmm. And it's like, do I really want to go down that route of like talking to a coworker? No.
Right. Yeah.
Like absolutely not, because it would make the work environment hostile and awkward.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's kind of like, how do we even approach dating?
I have no idea. That's why, look, I spend a lot of my time outside of the home. I do have a part-time job because I need medical benefits. Mm-hmm. So I have my little part-time job, but no, I work with all kids, like, 15 to 17. Like, their children. I mean, there's some 20-year-olds in there, but absolutely not. Like, I'm not going to, date someone where I work. And I go to the gym. That's where we spend our time. And I think the stigma around guys talking to you at the gym is absolute crap. Look, if you're a creep, it's going to be obvious you're a creep. If you just come up to me and say hi, that's how we met at the gym.
I thought you were calling me a creep because you were looking at me.
No.
You're like, if you're a creep, I'm like, shit, am I?
Absolutely not.
Thank you.
We're people talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why. Look, if I'm at the gym every day and you can clearly tell I'm a gym rat,
Yeah.
you really think I'd have a problem with somebody coming up and talking to me in between sets, or even, I'm there forever anyway. I'm there for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Come talk to me.
And like legit, before I even approached her, I had seen you at the gym randomly for like over a year.
Wow.
Yeah, and it wasn't until our friend Angel, who was on the last podcast, was like, I have a crush on this girl named Jen. I'm like, who the fuck is Jen? And then she's like this short little tattoo girl. She's super fucking fit. She looks amazing. She has a nice ass. And I'm just like, that's like Angel's go-to,
Right.
is that she has a nice ass. And I'm just like, okay. So it's like I saw her talking to you one day, and she's like, this is Christian. I'm like, hey.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
and then that was that.
And then he told me about his podcast, and I'm like, I want to hear it. Let me hear it.
And you are super fucking fit. So
Oh, thank you, brother.
thick muscle just written. I swear I'm not looking, but that's so hard to miss.
Well, look, that's another thing I think is so irritating to me. It's like you can't dress how you want to at the gym.
Yeah.
It's like, give me a break. I'm a 40-year-old woman. If I want to wear a low-cut sports bra, I'm going to wear it. And are people going to look? Yeah. I don't think you'd be a man if you didn't look. Do I have a problem with you looking? Absolutely not. If I did, then I should wear something that covers more. Sorry.
If y'all want to see what she's talking about, go check out her Instagram.
Yeah.
Jen
You can
Johnson
almost see it
Fitness.
under here. This is so see-through.
No, but she's not lying. I mean, she flaunts it. She got it. She ain't scared to work it. And even if you don't have it and you just feel confident in your own skin, then fucking do it.
Yeah. I mean,
know?
come on. But I don't think women should be upset if men are looking at you either. Because you're putting it out there. So if you don't want that type of look, or don't do it. But if you're cool with it, rock on, sister.
Do your fucking thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit. I mean, we started going off on a tangent.
We really did.
Yeah.
Back to the dating.
Back to the dating. So, I guess we can start this off with, have you ever used dating apps?
Yes, I did use dating apps.
And
Right?
what was your experience with that?
Well, first of all, I didn't know much about dating apps because I was married for 13 years. So dating apps came out during that time. I didn't have a use for them, didn't pay attention to anybody talking about them because it wasn't a part of my life. I didn't need it. So right when I got divorced, I had a friend, a male friend that was also divorced, and he was like, you should get on Tinder. I'm like, all right.
Did you know what Tinder was prior to?
Not really, no. I mean, I think I'd heard a thing here or there, but I figured all the dating apps were
Yeah.
kind of equivalent. So I was like, okay. I got on there and it was just all, it was all like young guys on there. Like, it wasn't a good place for me, man.
So, do you know about all the other different apps now, or do I need to explain it to you?
No, I do know about all the apps now. I've been divorced 5 years. I think I've tried them all.
Like, even Grindr?
Not Grindr. Never been on that one.
Okay. So, I'm like, no shame if you do go that way, but that's what it's meant for. So.
Oh, like just quick and easy?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
No. That's Tinder. So
Oh, okay.
Tinder is quick and easy. Grindr is if male looking for a male, female looking for a female
Oh, okay.
type of stuff.
All right.
That's what's mostly known for. Then there's Match. There's Bumble.
Been on Match. I've been on Bumble.
Am I missing?
I've been
one
on
platform?
Plenty of Fish.
eHarmony.
I've been on eHarmony.
Did you get hit up a lot?
Oh, constant. It was thousands, so fast.
The one thing that I liked, and we're not sponsored by any of these fucking guys, so I'm gonna talk all the shit that I want.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Match scammed the fuck out of me.
Like fake people?
Yes.
I've gotten catfished.
Oh.
I've gotten catfished.
Not just catfished, but also they set up like these fake accounts.
No way.
Yes. So
I didn't know about this. This is new for me. All right. Tell me about this.
People might hate me by saying this. I'm gonna be a little PG for this, but
Okay.
when you obviously know how the setup goes. You put your name, your profile photos. If you don't know, you have to set up a profile. Say what you're looking for, like if you're the ethnicities, religion, if you want somebody with kids, or if you want somebody that doesn't have kids, like that whole ordeal.
Yeah.
When it came to the ethnicities, I'm pretty open. This is where I'm gonna get a lot of hate.
Let me hear this.
But I typically don't date Asian women, even though I myself am Asian, Pacific Islander.
Woo.
So that's the thing. And so that's one of the only ones that I didn't have checked. I was constantly getting hit up by Asian women.
Wow, that's interesting.
And so I was like, you know what? Let me not be a dumbass. Let me just explore it.
Yeah.
So the moment I started to respond back to the Asian women, the accounts would disappear.
Whoa.
Yeah. Not the other ones that have hit me up, specifically the Asian women. I don't know
Interesting.
if they thought that because I didn't check that one off,
That you wouldn't explore it.
and
Yeah.
respond. Wow. And so I hit a match and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because like this person was interacting with me, and then all of a sudden, when I actually decided to entertain the idea, they disappeared.
Wow.
And you would get an email whenever you get a match.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Yep.
And so I was like, maybe the link is broken. So I clicked on the profile from the email. Same thing. Like, account not found.
Wow.
And I wasn't messaging them being like, talking like dirty shit or being a fucking
Right.
creep. I was just like, hey, how are you doing? Like, my name is Christian, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Gone.
Wow. That is interesting.
So I was like, I want my fucking money back.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Good. Good for you.
I was like, this is fucking bullshit. I'm not going on here again.
And that was Match?
Match.
Wow.
I did like Bumble
Yeah.
because of the fact that Bumble, it's the girls have to
Yeah.
choose. So it's like you could get a million fucking DMs from a whole bunch of fucking dudes, but it's another thing when the girl chooses the guy.
Right.
And it's like, you seem interesting, let me message you. Because when you get that message, you're kind of like, oh, she's genuinely fucking interested. She's not just swiping left and right.
Right. Yeah.
So, for the most part.
Yeah. I think Bumble actually was my favorite because
Really?
I had that option. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Bumble, shout outs to you. If
You're doing the good work.
You're doing the Lord's work.
You are.
If you want to sponsor me, please
Right?
do so. You can
We're
sponsor her
down.
too.
Then we have to date.
Then we have to date.
I don't know if we're ready for that.
I don't know. But before we get into dating, catfishing.
Oh my gosh. So, I was at not the best phase in my life, right? So I'm really looking at just looks, which now that I'm a
Shallow.
40-year-old woman and have learned many lessons, that looks, yes, there has to be some kind of an attraction,
Yeah.
but attraction and real desire develops over time and getting to know someone.
Thank you.
It really does. And I can attest to that. I'm not going to say that. That would have been awful.
Whoa! You cannot just say that and
Because
then
it
not
sounds
say it.
terrible. But I've been so attracted to some of the men that I have dated when people have told me, what the are you doing? Like,
Why would they say that?
why would you be with him based on the person's looks? And I'm like, oh my God, they're just so, I love them. I'm so attracted to them. And my friends are going, girl, don't do it. And I'm like, just based on looks? But if they're treating me this way and they have this kind of heart, why would you tell me that?
So,
which is awful, and I don't agree with that. I have found that attraction is when you get to know somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But before we get into that,
I didn't want to say that.
I want the fucking tea.
No way, I can't, because they're probably watching.
Listen, she's on here for a fucking reason. No, I mean, if you want to tell it, you can tell it. But if you don't want to, you don't have to.
I mean, it was just that. It was just somebody that,
That they didn't find attractive.
right. And it's not that I didn't find them attractive. It just wasn't like somebody I'd see and go and talk to. I think it was on Bumble that I met this person, and I knew them from around, so I knew who they were, and I'd have people tell me, like, you should date them, and I'm all, I don't know. And I finally went on a date, and if the physical attraction wasn't there at first, but I'm like, I really like this person, let me just try to get to know them.
Yeah.
So I think that's the key. It's not like rushing to, like, jump in bed with somebody because you're physically attracted to them. If you want something to last, you have to get to know them. You have to know about them. So, yeah, that's how it was. And they became super attractive to me. Like I desired them physically, even though at first, no, I wouldn't.
So, I'm going to make this reference, but we're a little TMI here. So, yeah, so forgive me for this. But I tell one of my best friends all the time, I don't care how fucking fine a female is.
Right.
If I can't have intelligent conversation with her, I don't fucking want it.
Right.
Because I don't want to just sit there and just be like, hey, you want to fuck? And then just be bored out of my fucking mind after.
Right.
But the whole thing is that, back in the day, I was all for one night stands, being a fucking dumb kid.
Yeah.
Right. But now that I'm older, I'm more serious and I want to have something with substance.
Right.
Right. And so I came up with this term called mental masturbation.
Oh. All right. Tell me about this. Give me the definition.
So it's when you get to know somebody, but you get to know all the intricacies about them. What makes them laugh, happy, sad, cry, what they're scared of.
And which takes time.
Which takes time.
Okay.
But I call it mental masturbation because it's like foreplay.
Yeah.
Right? Because sex is so much better with foreplay.
Yes.
Right? Sorry if this
Did you hear that? A man saying that.
Yeah.
A man that knows that. That's very rare.
Grown-ass women do not want 2 minutes of pleasure. No. Just for you to get off and then them just laying there like, you were good.
You're not getting a call back, bro.
No. But the thing is when you get to know all of those things and you develop that connection with them mentally, emotionally, and really develop and take that time. That's that mental masturbation, that mental foreplay.
Yeah.
So it's like you were saying, you developed this fucking attraction to
I
them.
did. I really did.
And then it made that physical aspect just be like, I fucking want you.
Yep, it did.
And I'm going to say it here. Sex is so much fucking better when it's truly with somebody that you care about.
Right. And I think even more so for women, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
More so for women. Yeah.
I'm a little in touch with my emotional side.
Oh, he's
if
in
you couldn't
touch.
tell.
He's in touch.
No, but it's truly one of those things where it's like, as you get older, you get tired of the fucking bullshit.
No. Yes, you do.
And
I'm done.
You get done with the quickies. You get done with, all that stuff. And
I can do that myself. I don't have to do any prep.
Yeah,
Simple.
Exactly.
Golly.
If you want 2 minutes, just do it your fucking self.
Right? Simple.
But yeah, sorry we went a bit off track there.
No, that's all part of it there.
Yeah. I know you had mentioned a bit about your divorce. Do you want to talk about what dating was like after your divorce?
Well, as I looked into this more recently and with a therapist on how I acted right after I got divorced. So, the first guy that I started dating was a very much younger man.
How much younger?
Way younger. So I was 35, he was 21.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And, I didn't meet him on a dating app. I met him organically. It's
Okay.
like I had a nail in my tire, went to the tire shop, and I was going through the divorce, right? Like bad. And I'd gotten into it with my ex about something, and I needed to get this nail fixed in my tire. And I show up, and I'm like teary-eyed and sad. And this kid tells me, which is a very nice looking young man, it's going to be like a 4-hour wait. And I'm like, okay, I'll be outside.
Can I interrupt for like 2
Yeah.
seconds? It sounds like the beginning of a bad fucking porn.
Doesn't it already? It really does.
Sorry, kids.
So I go outside and I'm sitting on the curb for not even like 10 minutes. And my car gets whipped around by the kid at the front desk. And he's like, I could just tell you're having a bad day. So I did it myself. I was like, I love you. Basically. And yeah, I didn't get his number or do anything like that, but I went back home and was telling my friend, and I was like, isn't that sweet? Isn't that like a, knight in shining armor kind of thing? Like, oh man, and he was so cute. Like, do you think he likes me? And then she's like, I'll find him on social media. What was his name tag? And I'm like, this friend was like, she could find anybody anywhere.
She was the fucking FBI.
She was the FBI. Like, I am terrible at that. Like, I can't find anybody online.
Mm-hmm.
I just cannot do it. I don't know. She found him. She's like, got him. Here he is. You need to get on the social media and contact him. So I did, and he responded right back. He's, oh, of course I remember you, this and that, and then we started dating.
I was like, how did you even approach that message?
Right?
Like, what was that DM? Like, so hey, I was that girl crying on the corner.
And then I said, I just wanted to tell you, you really made my day. That was so sweet of you. So thank you again. And then it just developed from that.
Did it just turn into like dating, or were you in a relationship?
Oh, it was like a full blast relationship.
Oh.
Yeah. And, we dated for like a month, like inseparable, seeing each other every day. And it was fun, right? I didn't go on dates. This is the thing with my ex-husband. When we got married and had kids, we moved to New Mexico. We didn't have babysitters.
Yeah.
I think legitimately we hired a babysitter twice.
Shit.
In that entire time, we did everything as a family, did everything with kids. So now I had this freedom to go and actually do things. And that's the thing, in my marriage, we didn't do things together. We didn't have a date time. It was a family joint thing all the time, which was cool. And I loved it. I was with my kids 24/7. I stayed at home.
You were
with
just
my
being a
business.
good parent, so.
Yeah, we didn't do anything. So when I had this and he's like, let's go to Topgolf, let's go to, main event. And I'm like, oh my gosh, fun things. And I think my brain reverted back to where I was before I got into the relationship with my ex-husband.
That's what I was about to say, because I'm like, you were talking about you married the guy you went to prom with.
Yeah, so I reverted back to like an 18-year-old kid, just like wilding out and, having fun. And
You didn't get to have like that hoe phase.
well, I went right to him, and I was with him, and then he joined the Marines like 2 months
shit.
after. So I was like so dedicated to him, because this is another thing I found out through therapy and talking to other women. When you immediately get out of such a long relationship like that, 16 years with the same person, you think you need to make that next relationship just like the one you had. So it's like I was trying to make a 21-year-old boy my new husband. And that doesn't work. It really doesn't.
And that's the whole reason why I preach therapy so much. Because of the fact that it's like, if you haven't healed from something, not even just a relationship, but like shit you grew up with your family.
Yeah.
It's like
The childhood trauma, yeah.
Like, if you don't let your scars truly fucking heal, you'll bleed it on to the next person.
Right.
And it's really one of those things where one, it's not fair to them.
Right.
Two, you're not going to be happy because you are deflecting your past relationship onto this new one.
Yes, exactly.
And it's one of those things where it's like right now, I'm in a place of peace. I'm like, I don't want anybody to fuck with it because
Yeah.
I like really learned that.
You put in the work.
Yeah.
You did the work.
But it's truly like one of those things like you were saying, you needed to make that next relationship be almost like the last one, almost like so you can fix it.
Right. And you don't even know you're doing that. It's subconscious.
Very much so. But also because we were older, one of the things that I did as well after my last relationship was the next female that came into my life that was beautiful. It sounds fucking shallow, right? But there has to be that physical attraction.
Yeah.
Right? That was funny. She was hilarious. She was successful. She made like 6 figures a year. Like that whole ordeal. I'm like, wow, she can be my mommy.
Right.
But it's like truly one of those things where it's like when you see that after these long relationships and when you're older, that option seems like the greatest fucking thing.
Right.
Because you don't realize when the next option's going to come along.
Yes.
Right? And so it's like it doesn't matter like how old they are. Well, I mean, it matters that they're legal.
That matters.
But it's like, it's truly like, when you get that option, they're like, they know you have kids.
Yeah.
Right? For you, like, I don't have kids, I have cats. But they're my babies.
They are.
But it's like when they, are accepting of those things in your life, like you with the divorce.
Yeah.
Like me not having my family here after like being out of a like long relationship. It's truly one of those things where you're like, I want to keep it.
Yeah.
And you're like, you do whatever you want. And all the things that you haven't healed from, pour onto them.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like the last girl I was with, or talking to, she wasn't great, but I also had a part to play in that as well.
Oh, yeah, I have a part. We all have. There's
Yeah.
2 sides to every story, yeah.
But it's like you were saying, it's like you were trying to make that last relationship what your marriage was, the things you were trying to fix.
Yeah.
Like for me, I saw it as, like, I don't know when I'm going to have this again. So I need to take it no matter how bad it is for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm
I
like,
understand
I don't know when I'm going to have it again.
Yeah.
But now I could really give a fuck.
Right? You get to that place of peace.
Yeah.
And the thought of entertaining anyone that is not where I'm at in life, no. An absolute no.
So, because you are in a better place now, what would you say is probably the quality that you are looking for the most?
Well, based on the last very short relationship I had, their independence, their self-assurance, their, being complete and whole within themselves and not needing me to fill a hole, not needing me to be the person to give them the security and the peace they need. Because I have that peace within me. It is not based on anything external in my life. The world could crash down around me. I could lose everything, and I will still be okay.
Yeah.
Somebody else needs to match that. That's number 1. You have to have peace within yourself and not look for it in me.
So she and I, we obviously have talked offline, but we've also discussed how I'm losing my train of thought.
It's like neediness.
Not just the
Reassurance.
neediness. It was more along the lines of, fuck. I'm going to remember it like as I'm going to the bathroom.
Those things happen.
Yeah, but it's like, it's one of those things where, wow, fucking really.
You just space cadeted it?
I space cadeted the fuck out.
Big time.
Shit. But it was like so good.
Oh,
And
I
then,
lost it when it was good. I'd rather that happen.
no, because I didn't want to
The old
interrupt you.
age.
Thanks.
I'm older than you.
I know, it's all good. No, but anyway, I'm going to interrupt you as soon as I fucking remember it.
Yeah, you have to now.
Yeah.
I need to know. So do they. We all need to know.
We all need to fucking know. So, sorry, elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah, it's just that. I'm at a place where I don't constantly need somebody to say, like, I miss you.
Yeah.
Are you okay if I haven't texted you within 10 minutes? That's not okay. To me, that's like an issue that you really need to fix within yourself. And that is not something I can provide you. Because in that relationship, I bent over backwards to make sure that person felt secure, did everything I possibly could. And when that person had the audacity to ask me, it could be all in my head, but do you still love me? After everything I did. And I'm telling you, it was a lot. Not just words. Words are cheap. Talk is cheap. I showed you. Mm-hmm. I showed you in so many ways. I showed you I don't even want to say all the ways.
Yeah.
To be confronted with that was a slap in my face to say that I'm not doing enough. And I overextended myself, and that's my bad because I knew this person had that issue. So I overextended to the point where then when that hit me, I felt resentment. So me not being authentic to myself again and making myself go into this place that wasn't authentic by really showing them, really ramping that up, and it was still come at me with that's not good enough, that I couldn't handle.
I'm sorry. I promise I'm taking you seriously, but I remembered what I was going to fucking say. And I'm like, I have this goofy look.
He's like, oh my God, please
I'm
shut
like,
up. I need to say it.
No, because I hate interrupting people.
No, you can interrupt me.
No, but it's like, I'm like, I remembered. I don't want to interrupt. And it's like, as you're telling me the story and as you're looking at me like really serious, and I'm like, I really want to fucking interrupt, but I don't.
Say it. Now you gotta say it.
But what I... Sorry, because I had to look at the camera. I'm like, I look fucking goofy. I have like this goofy ass smile on my face. But what I was going to say is that when you and I talked offline, you and I both talked about how we both were fixers.
Oh, the fixer, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the point that I wanted to get on, which you already touched on very well. And I was like, as you were talking about, I'm like, this is what I want to talk about.
It. Yeah.
This is it. But it's like for myself and for you, and I'm sure many other people that consider themselves fixers, you see the potential.
Yes.
And then you're like, and because you took the time to get to know them and their insecurities,
Yes.
you tried to help them through that, and you start to get to this point where it's like, you know, I'm doing everything to make them feel secure. But the thing is, because that's the fixer in us, right?
Yes.
That's the one thing that we really had to learn how to get away from.
Right.
And let go of.
Yes.
Because we can't fix people that aren't willing to fix themselves.
No.
It sounds so fucking cliche, right? But it's true. And it's the one thing that my therapist tries to drill in my head all the time, is that you can't control how other people feel. You can only control how you feel.
Right.
The work that you do for yourself, if they're not willing to do that for them, that's on them. It's not your job to fix them.
No.
And so it's like, you can do all the right things. Like, you can pick up their phone call every 10 minutes when they call. You can give them your phone, let them look through your text messages, just so they feel more secure if they're a jealous fucking person.
Right.
But those aren't your issues.
No.
Those are theirs.
Right. And it's not my job to help even try to fix that because I can't.
Yeah, and being someone who was a fixer, I don't consider myself one anymore. I try to help people, but it's like, at the end of the day, you're going to do you.
That's
you,
right.
boo-boo.
That's very right.
But it's like, the one thing that I've learned is that once you learn to let that shit go and let them do their thing, because if they decide for themselves to not try to work on themselves and truly fucking heal from that, I'm not going to allow that shit in my life. I'm at peace.
Right. Right.
And it's so fucking sad because I tell my therapist this all the time. I tell my friends this all the time. But it's like when you see the potential in somebody and they don't want better for themselves, it's sad because it's like us as fixers, we're like, why can't you see this for yourself?
Right.
Like, why don't you want better for yourself?
Yeah.
And it's like the person acts irrationally. I did that, right? Where it's like I needed the attention, where I needed the reassurance because I didn't learn how to fucking heal. But then you start to see, like, looking back, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, I was that way too at a point in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm like, I wouldn't want that either.
Right.
And once you can reflect back and see your own fucking mistakes, one, don't go back to the person and be like, hey, my bad.
Yeah.
You know, because all that does for the person is reopen the wound that they probably don't want to revisit.
Right. Yeah.
Right? But then, two, it's just kind of like, okay, I can see how I've grown from this.
Yes.
So moving forward, I'm not going to make that same mistake again.
Right. Yes.
That's where fucking growth comes into play.
Exactly. Yeah.
My nipples got hard a little bit.
Did it?
I'm like,
did they?
that's a good fucking relationship. Sorry, kids.
I mean, that's the truth. I think this last very short relationship that I had
Yeah.
drilled that into my brain, the fixer. And I think that was a huge part for me that I had to get, and I had to go through that fire with that person to be able to never do that again. I can spot the signs.
Yeah.
When I heard, that they had these issues, I'm all, simple, easy fix. I got you. I know how to make you feel absolutely A-okay. And I still didn't.
Yeah.
And it was above and beyond what was natural and authentic, which is my bad completely. Yeah, lesson learned. It's not to be repeated, for sure.
And the thing that you learn from that is that when you're constantly trying to fix somebody too, it's almost like you're forcing the fucking relationship at that point.
Exactly, yes. And that's when I had to stop. The second I saw that really come to life, because this was the thing, I was with this person 24/7. So it was the time that I stepped back and went on a vacation that all of this revealed itself, because I wasn't physically there. Even though I'm at Disneyland messaging them pictures and photos, or Knott's Berry Farm, or at the aquarium, that still wasn't even good enough. And FaceTiming. And then to get that response or that question of, do you still love me? That was like unbearable for me.
Were you with your kids?
Yes. I was with my kids and my family. I didn't even go out and see any friends. And it was very obvious. They could see it in the pictures. They could see where I was. It wasn't.
That's the one thing for me is that, like, especially since you do have kids that are teenagers now, if you're out with your kids, I'm like, go have fun with your kids. They're your fucking world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I am here as a fucking guest in your household.
Right.
So it's truly one of those things where it's like,
That's maturity. You've healed. That's growth.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this person was in therapy, and they'd been in therapy for a while. And that was one thing that, to me, that's an anxious attachment style. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I know the steps for anxious attachment style. I've read the books. Number one is you don't ask that person that. If you are trying to grow and heal from the anxious attachment, and you've been in therapy for a year, I know that therapist has given you tools and steps of what to do when you are triggered. And it is not ask that person. It's go to your friend first and say, hey, I'm having these thoughts. You know us both. You've been out with us both. What do you see? And that person, if they're a good friend and they've seen everything and everything seems fine, should talk you off the ledge of contacting that person. Or you go to your therapist, or you journal, or you do something to just distract yourself from that emotion.
Yeah.
But instead, this person did not follow the steps and tools. So to me, you're not going to do it in the future. So I'm done.
You brought up a very good point to something that I want to mention. is that people can go to therapy, but showing up doesn't mean that you actually pay attention.
I know that. And to me, to be honest, this person is using therapy as an excuse to
Yeah.
keep doing it.
And see, that's the thing, is that even people that go to the gym, right? They're
Yeah.
like, they could show up to the gym, do one workout, and talk the rest of the time. Just because you
That's
showed up
true.
to the gym does not mean you're putting in the fucking work.
That's very true.
And it's like, people tell me all the time, I go to therapy, it's just not fucking clicking to me.
Are you doing the work?
Yes.
Are you doing what they told you to do? Have you been journaling?
Yes. Because, and I'm sure you have different tools, but my go-to whenever I am not feeling right is journaling. Mm-hmm. Right? It's my constant. The moment that I do not journal consistently and I just let my thoughts run wild, I'm like, what am I not doing that I need to do?
Right. For me, it's meditation.
Yeah.
And it's the quiet time within myself. That's my peace. Coming into who I authentically am, outside of the ego, outside of the body. When I come to that's where I can recalibrate and refocus. Yeah.
And the thing is, when you do show up to therapy, when you do show up to the gym, when you actually put in the fucking work and stop distracting yourself from doing all the bullshit that's keeping you from fucking growing,
Yeah.
that's when you lean out and lose weight, when your mental health gets right, when you start cultivating better relationships for yourself, when you start to separate yourself from those things that are toxic,
Yeah.
because you're like, I've learned what this toxic behavior was. I myself was toxic at one point.
Right. I think we all were, right? And
Yeah.
we've all.
And it's just being like, I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for other people.
Right.
Nor will I fucking accept that.
That's right. That's right. That's the big one.
And it's like, this is why I wore the little Venom shirt here. Because I call myself, I'm in my villain era right now.
I like that.
Right? Because I can be the villain in somebody's story just so that they seem like the hero. I don't give a fuck if that brings you peace. By all means, do
Oh,
you.
yeah, I know. I'm the villain in everyone's story I've ever dated. Trust me. And look, I have a part to play in everything, right? I'm not
Yeah.
saying that. But you want to demonize me? Go ahead. As long as I keep my peace, I don't care.
Exactly. And that's the thing, right? The last girl who I was talking to, like, one of the last things she said to me, and we've had good conversations after this, which is a good thing, but after shit went south, was that I'm like the crash. She said, this was her saying this to me, I'm like the crash test dummy, because I know from this things are going to get better for you, and like you learned everything from this whatever relationship it was, because we weren't truly together. And that sucks because I know how good of a person that you are.
Yeah.
And you're going to heal after. But it's after me, so I'm the crash test dummy. And guess what? She moved on to somebody else while I was still trying to talk to her.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
That's just how it rolls.
But she's the crash test dummy.
And that's the thing. Don't you notice that too? It's like, you know, even with my ex-husband, he's, you know, got with somebody right away and he was still with that same person. And I went through, like when I see something I don't like, or I get my faculties about me that, you know, trying to make a 21-year-old your husband ain't gonna fly. You know, you move on. It's okay. I never felt like I've had to stay with the same person except my ex-husband, and look where that got me. That relationship should have ended way earlier than it did, but I stuck it out because I had children. And I, you know, in my brain, even when I tried to, you know, when I was going through the divorce or thought about the divorce before it happened, I just kept telling myself, can I wait till they're 18? Can I wait till they're 18? Because the ironic thing is, my parents got divorced the same age as my brother and I were, and now my kids were that same age that I chose to divorce. And it was so funny because I was even in therapy a couple years before that, and they told me that. They're like, don't be surprised if history repeats itself. My therapist actually said that. I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
Or they just said, like, your emotions would become really strong around the time your kids are the age that you were when you got divorced. That's true.
That makes a lot of sense, though.
Yeah.
And I think It is definitely much more complicated, much more difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have kids. Mm-hmm. Like my ex and I, we didn't. You know, but I'm not saying it wasn't easy. I mean, I'm not saying it was
No.
easier, but it was more along the lines that it like
Wasn't
because
as entangled.
yeah,
Because
because
you're going to be tied to that person for the rest of your life because you have children.
yeah, and then possibly co-parenting, right?
Yeah, if they will.
If they will.
I don't have that luxury, but yeah.
Hi, folks. Dealing with a slight technical interruption. See, that was good enough. I didn't know how to segue this, so I'm just making an excuse. But anyway, what I've learned now that I'm older is that I'm willing to accept some of the things that I wouldn't have even entertained when I was younger. And vice versa. Like, I thought life would be much different at this age than it is now. Is there anything that you thought when you were younger that you would be doing now, like relationship wise? And what is something that you thought you might have been more accepting of after the divorce that you're
Versus
more
now?
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing is definitely I don't want to date anybody with really young kids because I already did that.
How young is young?
Like younger than my kids.
Okay.
Like I would even prefer them to be much older than my kids, to be honest with you. Mixing children together is super hard, especially teenagers.
Yeah.
It's kind of disastrous, to be honest with you. So I would rather somebody either have their kids grown. I mean, I don't even mind if the kids are living there, but just kids with the mental capacity to be doing their own thing. You know, not a kid that still is in diapers or even in grade school. No, that's not for me. That's a lot to take on. I know it sounds, but that's just a preference. It's harder to have a relationship like that.
You know how you mentioned you dated the 21-year-old after your divorce?
Yeah.
So, were they living at home still?
That's another thing. Yeah, you definitely need to be out your mama's house.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing that I learned that I accepted a few times where
But these times are hard.
these times were hard. I figured,
In
like,
this fucking economy, you know,
Right.
inflation's a fucking thing.
and I get it. When you're that young, yeah. But now I've learned that, yeah, I'm not going to date that young.
So I'm gonna fuck with you a little bit.
All right.
So, I mean,
Oh, I'm ready.
like, were they having to sneak out of their mama's house just to fucking
Yeah, actually.
climbing through the... What?
Like there
I was fucking around.
No, I remember this one guy was like, I gotta be home because my mom's gonna be. I'm like, oh, well, Jim, what are you doing, Lord? This was, yeah, I was not in a good place. I was not in a good place. We're talking 5 years ago. We're talking, you know, I'm like trying to give myself excuses why. But yeah, it was
No,
bad.
that was for real?
For real, for real. Like I have to be home. Okay. And that was like...
Then they said because of their parent.
Yes. My mom needs me to be home at this time. And once I heard that, that was... But yeah, that did happen. Swear to God. Swear to God. It happened.
I might turn into a fucking meme just with how shocked I fucking was. I was like...
No, that's legit. You really triggered my brain with that, but yep. Mm-hmm. That was a legit thing. So.
Sorry if you're watching this, but I mean...
Because this is the thing. Wait, let me tell you. I did not have guys my age approaching me. The only guys that felt comfortable talking to me were young guys. And to this day, it kind of continues. They're either way older, like 20 plus years older than me, or 20 years younger than me. There are not guys my age.
Wait, guys that have their AARP card?
Yes. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that,
But, you know, yeah, somebody more around my age would guys don't approach me in general, but the young guys have these cojones to just come right up and
I'm
you're still stuck on the guy having to leave for
No,
his
because
mom?
I'm like, that and like fucking old guys need to pop Viagra.
Right? No, and some of them are like, I just need a companion to go out with, like to go to concerts or go travel. And I'm like, I'm not at the place in my life to do that yet. I'm still a hustler. I'm an entrepreneur. I want to do those things. I don't want to go and do the like, let's go out to dinner all the time and vacations. I'm not at that place. I'm a hustler. I like,
So how was it?
God.
How was it like wiping their diapers?
Right? How was it changing their diapers? It was great.
I am so sorry because I know you see me as serious most of the time, but I'm goofy 90% of the time.
Hey, that's my whole channel, bro. Some exercises in there, but it's more just funny stuff. I like the comedy, man. You got to keep it light. You got to be able to make fun of yourself too, right?
I do make fun of myself.
I do. Lord, it doesn't take much to need to make fun of me. Like,
I'm trying to
just get it back.
I'm trying to
journal, brother.
I can't find. Sorry. Okay. Whew.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It is.
I've had a wild ride these past 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, you went from one side of the spectrum
to the polar opposite there.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. I'm back. I'm back,
He's
kids.
back.
No, but I get the whole thing with the kids because when I was younger, I was like, because there are people that have kids when they're like 18. Nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that. Like,
Yeah.
life happens the way it happens.
Yeah.
Right? And when I was 21, I was like, am I really going to date somebody that has a kid? And at that time, I was like, no.
Right.
Because I'm like, I wasn't mature enough to, but I was mature enough to be like, that would be too much to take on for me.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, I don't know who their baby daddy is.
Right.
Like, I would have to think about co-parenting. But when I got onto the websites like Match and they ask you those questions,
Yeah.
like me just being at this point, I'm like, I'm fucking 38 now. It's kind of, unless I'm dating somebody like right out of fucking high school or college,
Yeah.
like you did.
Like I did.
Like I did, needing their permission, like a permission slip to go out. Sorry,
Sign a
I
waiver.
fucking had to.
Sign a waiver.
But it's like truly one of those things where I'm like, most women my age now probably do have kids.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, it's not that I'm just settling for it, but it's like something that I have to accept.
Yeah. I understand that. Yeah.
Right? And the thing is, if I know that they have kids, I would be at this point where I would tell them right off the bat, I don't want to meet your kids right off the bat.
Right. That's a really important thing. Yeah.
Because, no, I'm not trying to be your fucking stepdad. Like,
Right,
off
yeah.
the bat. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get to know your mom and truly get to know her. The moment the kids get involved, I feel like would complicate the fuck out of it.
Yes, it does. Because then you form an attachment to them, and then there's
Yeah.
that relationship, and then if your relationship doesn't work out, then it's like,
Yeah.
it's awkward. Yeah.
And the thing is, I know I'm a good guy, right?
You are.
I'm pretty fucking cool.
You are.
You know
You
what I mean?
are.
If it was a boy, I'd be like, you want to go to the gym with me? I'll show you how to fucking lift.
Right.
And it's like those moments, like even if it's like fucking playing pickleball, basketball, football, any of that shit.
Yeah.
I feel like once you start bonding with those kids, not only if things didn't work out with the woman, like, am I breaking up with her? I'm breaking up with the kids too.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I'm mature enough to know, I'm like, I want to see how things work out.
Right.
Then let me meet your kids
Yeah.
eventually. Like, if we are that serious. But it's like, if you were to introduce the kids right off the fucking bat,
Yeah.
like, just know that I am not going to do that because I don't want to fucking break their hearts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm not going to meet your kids. I'm kidding.
I think if you met my son, he goes always at the gym.
Yeah, I have met your son.
Yeah.
I just wasn't formally introduced.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. No, it's all good. Sorry.
But yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. It is hard because that's happened to me. That's happened to me.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know. This is what makes dating at our age so fucking difficult.
Just another thing to, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, do you ever think about leaving New Mexico?
I do. I think about going back to California.
Okay. And because I know how old your kids are, I'm not going to say it. But it's...
You can say it. They're 14 and 16, yeah.
Okay. But it's like, if you ever thought... Because now, because you do have kids, you think about, like, them in high school.
Right.
And then you're, like, taking them away from the people that they know.
Right.
Right? So
I don't think they'd really have a problem with that. The problem would be I don't want to take them away from their dad. So
yeah.
that would be the issue. Yeah, and they're almost 18, so I like New Mexico. I can hang in here for another 4 years.
Yeah. But that's the whole thing with like parenting and dating being difficult, because if you eventually want to move, like you have to consider your kids.
Yes, definitely.
And it's like that's why I've always been on the fence about dating now, because I don't know if I want to stay here, to be quite honest.
Right, yeah. I agree.
And then if I get attached to somebody, then I'm like, I kind of do.
Right,
I
I
have to
gotta stay.
And then if they have kids, I'm like, I definitely have to stay.
Yeah.
Because I would have to consider their kids.
Right, that's very true. That's very true. And that's kind of why I don't want to date somebody with kids. Because I don't want to take any of that into consideration. Or not that they don't have kids, just that they're older. Or more, my kids' age or older.
Yeah.
Like it has to be that equivalent for me right now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it would be, there's all those things like you just said. Mm-hmm. I don't want to deal with that.
So, because we've talked about the relationships, how would you think, because I know you say that guys don't approach you.
They don't. They really don't. Guys don't approach me.
Do you think that there is an appropriate way for a guy to approach you?
Yeah, just come up and introduce yourself. Hi, I'm so-and-so.
Is it that easy, though?
Why isn't it? Okay, I get it. I get why it isn't that easy. But I put it out there so much, I think, on my Instagram page alone, just saying, like, people are people. You should be able to go up and say, hey, I'm this person. Saw you working out. You're killing it. And then you can walk away, or you can see if any conversation strikes up.
Yeah.
And
honestly, I'm glad you answered the way that you did, was because I feel like the more organic it is, the better it is.
Yes.
Because it's like, if you're needing your friend to go approach somebody, just to be like, hey, my name is blah, blah, blah. Like, just to find an excuse to, like, get you guys together, that's fucking childish.
Right? You have to just man up. What's the worst thing? Rejection? Okay. Yeah. Rejection is God's protection. Remember that. And that's happened to me. Like, I've gone up to guys at the gym. We've talked about this. Yes. And I've been like, hey, found an excuse, like, with their tattoo or whatever. And the guy just kind of stone cold face, like, yeah, I got it at this place. All right, my God, right?
But God protected you from that situation.
They did.
We won't mention it on here, but...
Yeah. So that's a good thing. And I do believe that. But I do think people should approach people just in a friendly way. Just make it light, make it friendly. And I think if that person reciprocates anything, then it's like, okay, that's another time I can go and talk to them again, or maybe get to know them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, just some older people advice for you guys out there.
Right.
Is that, especially if it's somebody that you see pretty often, like somebody at the gym, don't be afraid to go up to your gym crush, especially when you see them all the time. Like, I'm not gonna lie, she's fucking attractive, right?
Well, thank you.
But it's like because I've seen you around, like I told you, for a while.
Yeah.
But Angel just so happened to introduce us, but when you come in with zero expectations, you're not gonna lose, right?
No.
Because it's like, you're like, hey, I was like, your trap's fucking developed amazing.
I'm like, right.
I know, she fucking flexed at me, and she's like, thanks. And like after that, like it's just everything's organic.
Right, and that's how it should be. How are you not going to develop friendships or any type of relationship? You have to be okay talking to people and not behind a fucking screen all the time.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing is like we've talked about how there has to be some sort of physical attraction. But it's like you can get to know somebody and see these amazing qualities in somebody.
Right.
And then just be like, they are fucking incredible.
Right.
I didn't see them in that way before.
Right.
I see them like that now.
Absolutely.
Maybe I need to entertain it.
Absolutely. Because you can have the prettiest face, the most rockin' body. But the
ugliest fucking soul.
Exactly. Yeah. Or you just don't click, or that's just not your person, or not somebody you want to go any further with. You only get to know that by getting to know them. And then I want to say this to women out there. You really confuse that when you jump into bed with somebody. You confuse if you genuinely like them or now you've just formed an attachment because you've slept with them. There's a huge difference. So I would advocate for women, not that I have done this in every relationship, I have not, but now being older and wiser, wait. And if they don't want to wait, they are not the person for you. And the waiting it can be on your own timeline, right?
Yeah.
But get to know them a little bit.
And honestly, if you do want something serious.
Yes. If you're just having a good time, by all means, you do you. That's beautiful and wonderful. But if you want to have something real and have a connection with somebody past physicality, you've got to get to know them.
Yeah. And it's like, but if you really truly do want that something serious and you plan on having a future with them, that shit can fucking wait.
Exactly.
Because it's going to fucking happen eventually.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's why I mentioned before, it's like when you develop that connection, like, yeah, don't get me wrong, the physicalities are amazing, right? But so is that emotional connection.
Right.
So are those conversations. So are those like
Yes.
moments where you can just read like your significant other from across the room.
Yeah.
See how they're feeling. And she can be like, hey, I'm feeling 20% today. Can you be 80% for me?
Right. Yep. That's a real relationship.
Yeah.
And those are few and far between, honestly. And I think we try to make relationships that when they're not.
Yeah. That's why when things are forced,
Yeah.
it doesn't work out.
Right.
And being someone who gets overlooked, because I'm only 5'6", right? Which is not tall for a guy. I literally get overlooked. Right?
Geez, I must be invisible then.
No, I mean, for girls is one thing. But it's like you develop that knowledge and that ability where it's like when you really have the personality and you build those connections,
Yeah.
like that's all that matters.
Right.
Right?
It is.
And I'm like, like how you said the younger guys approached you.
Yeah.
Like, I think...
Because that's for one thing. We get it.
I think they see it kind of like a challenge, right?
Right, yeah.
When I was younger, I had a height complex. I'm not going to lie. I was like, I'm going to date girls that are fucking taller than me.
Right?
Right? I'm like, I'm going to see if I can do it. Sure enough, I did.
Right.
And I would get looks. I'm like, I don't fucking care. I'm like, I'm doing something right.
Right?
Right? But that's the young man mentality.
Right, yeah.
But now it's like, it's one of those things where you're just like, yo, like, I want something significant. Like, yes, looks and the physicalities are like one thing, but it's another thing when you can have just something beautiful from conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I do have to say this. From, like, the past relationship I just had and everything I've gone through the past 5 years, and then finally coming into this just place of peace within myself, I know that right now I don't want a significant other. And I can't tell you when I will.
Same.
I just am okay. And thinking about when you do have that person that you have that connection with, how much you do want to invest in them, because that's how I am. Mm-hmm. I do want to invest in them. I do want to spend time with them. I do want all that. I'm not in a place to give that to somebody, and I recognize that.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen for me right now. I'm just not at that place. I'm not saying I can't meet somebody and, things change, but right now for me, I know that I'm on the path I'm supposed to be on, and it's supposed to be alone for now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that I've learned to accept as well.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really fucking weird when you see shows like Couple to Throuple. Because it's like getting involved with another person, it's complicated enough in itself.
Oh, God.
But it's like adding another person to that equation, even more difficult. But it's like, you and I talk about this all the time. It's like when we focus on ourselves.
Yeah.
And seeing like how much we actually neglected the things that we wanted to do in life.
Yes.
Like, you don't want to add anybody else to that.
Right.
Right? Right now, I have the freedom to create a podcast on whatever the fuck I want.
Right, exactly.
You have the freedom to record all the reels you want at the gym.
Yes. And I think it would take a specific type of man to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Really, honestly, to just, be with somebody that puts everything out there. And I respect that and I get that. But I want to do me. And this is fun for me. And I'm being me, finally. That's another thing. In my marriage, anything that I wanted to do, like I didn't have tattoos. I didn't have piercings. And I wanted all those things in my 20s. And I kept getting, because I had kids young, so I kept getting told that's childish, that's immature, you're not going to do that. So I'm like, okay. So the second I got divorced, I did all the things I wanted to do. I got the tattoos, I got the piercings. And, a lot of people say, oh, it was the midlife crisis. It's like, not really. I just never got to be me.
Yeah.
I never got to express myself.
Yeah.
Because of the situation I put myself in and I stayed in.
Yeah.
So that's on me. And then once I got out of it, I became me. A funny thing, it made me cry. I hope I'm not going to cry right now. But I was driving in the car with my son, and I must have just listened to a podcast that said how hard it is for kids of divorce. And I'm a child of divorce, and I know what I went through and how hard that was. And I just told him, like, baby, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that you have to go through all this. I never wanted to put you through this. I'm sorry. And he just looked at me and he was like, Mom, I never got to know you. And he's like, I love this version of you. This is who you are. And he's like, so thank you for showing me my mom, showing up for me, and being who you are. And it was like, oh my God. See, I'm like trying not to cry now.
It's okay to cry.
But he was just like, you couldn't be you. And I understand why. And now you are. So I'm happy to have been part of it and got to see it and all that. And that's one thing. My son is always, glass half full. He's amazing. So, yeah.
Two things I will say in regards to that. One, people don't put your significant other in a fucking bubble. Because if you are allowing, or if you are being controlling and saying that they shouldn't do things like the piercings, like the tattoos, like all the things that you neglected yourself, I'm like, do you really love that person, or do you love the version of them that you want?
Yeah.
Right? And that's not love. That's possession. The other thing is that when you got the tattoos, when you got the gauges, when you got into fitness, and you became this happy person, your son said it perfectly.
He did. And
it's like you allowed yourself to be you. I'm getting fucking goosebumps just talking about this.
Right? It's like, ugh.
But it's like you want, especially you that you have kids, when you get to be the most authentic version of yourself, your energy is going to resonate, and you're going to get back what you should be getting back.
Yeah, and I do. And I finally do.
Right?
That's the most amazing thing. Yeah.
I'm glad you see that. But more importantly, I'm glad that your kids get to witness that.
Me too. Because it shows them to be yourself.
Yes.
Don't let anybody do anything like that to you.
Yeah. And it's just giving him that amazing fucking role model to just be like, hey,
Thank you.
You are.
Thank you.
No, you are.
Oh, don't make me cry.
It's okay. You can cry. I got somebody to cry on the fucking podcast besides myself. No, but you are an amazing fucking role model.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And no, because from the time that I've known you, I've just seen you as this hustler, this strong fucking woman. And hearing this story now, it makes me just be like, yo, my fucking heart. Because, like, for real, like, as a product of parents who were separated and who didn't have healthy communication,
Right.
like, I didn't get to see what I thought love should be.
Yeah.
I didn't see how fixing yourself should be.
Right.
Because I had an example that I love my mom, right? And it's like she she's been with my stepdad now since I was like 5, but they didn't get married until a couple years ago.
Okay.
Right? But I'm like, they developed that and they just decided to pull the trigger.
Right.
The other side of things, I saw somebody that chased love no matter what.
Yeah.
And didn't take the time to really learn to love themselves. Mm-hmm. So what example did I get?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so coming from a child of separation and seeing that and you being your authentic self now and fucking healing.
Yeah. Healing every day.
Yeah.
Constant battle.
Your kids have an amazing fucking example.
Well, thank you.
I mean
I appreciate it.
And the fact that he verbalized that to you just shows how comfortable he is with you.
Oh, my son's so comfortable. We have a really great open line of communication, and unfortunately he doesn't get that as much with his dad. So he knows with me he can say anything anytime. Both my kids know that. It's like no judgment. I'm not gonna get upset, or if I do, I can calm it down real fast and be like, I'm sorry for saying that. That's a big thing I think with my kids, is if I ever do cross a line or become that version of myself that I don't like, it's an immediate I'm sorry, and like, okay, I'm gonna backtrack. If that happens again, we're gonna go down the same road. I'm trying to rewire that brain to not go down that road again or not say those things to you. I understand. It's very open line of communication.
Yeah.
Completely. And I have no problem telling them when I screw up, when I mess up, and that I'm trying to be better. And I never got that growing up. I don't know if you did. My parents have never, my dad now, we have an awesome relationship, but, we didn't grow up in that culture. It was, what your parents said went. You didn't question them. You didn't talk with them openly.
It's a very old school mentality.
Yeah.
And the thing that I've learned is that I don't have kids, but if I were to have kids, I would never want to pour my mistakes onto them.
Right.
And the fact that you have that open line of communication, they're going to fucking appreciate it. And it's just the fact that they're just so open with you.
Yeah.
Just shows the relationship that you do have. Like, I'm sure you couldn't have that relationship with your own parents.
No.
Right? Like, and it's just kind of what they said, like, goes. And then you lived in this bubble, and then you never felt like yourself.
Right. Yeah.
So, I know that you and I both talked about our past relationships and some of the things that we didn't like, including your 21-year-olds that needed to ask for permission, as well as the changing of the diapers from the old men. But
I've never dated anybody older than me.
Oh. Mm-hmm. But you get hit on by.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're super sweet, and they're not aggressive, and they just kind of lay it out, and it's like, I think you want somebody younger than me, because I'm at a place where it's like, I don't want to do those things.
Maybe they want you to kind of be like their cane, so to help them walk around with.
Maybe. Maybe.
Like, I need something else to hold me up besides
You
this
look like
Viagra.
a strong woman. You could do it.
Anyway, going back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Even though we talked about some of the things we didn't like.
Yeah.
And some things that we learned along the way. Mm-hmm. What is the thing that you felt like you can change when it comes to relationships?
And my part in things for sure is most definitely not speaking up for myself. And I think that has to do with, the long-term relationship, my marriage, just because I knew it would be an argument and I would lose. So what I carried forward for a very long time, and that I still struggle with, I struggled with immensely in the last short-term relationship I had, was not speaking up for myself and saying, when I have a problem with something, I'll just let it go. And I keep letting it go and letting it go. And then there's another thing and another thing and another thing, and I won't say anything. And those are all like tiny ticks that build up resentment. Mm-hmm. And that has to do with talking with people that are in relationships, maybe not healthy ones that I'm getting advice from, saying that, nobody's perfect, or you should just let that go. But if it bothers me enough to talk about it with you, then maybe that's not something I should let go. I should have enough guts to say that in my relationship, even if it's tiny things, And then I think when there's like 12 tiny things that I let build up. When the one big thing happens, all those 12 tiny things are just like another reason why. Cut and done.
Yeah. And that's the thing that, like, I definitely understand where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. And I definitely feel like you need to communicate those things.
Yes, I do.
However, this is why I feel like communication is probably one of the most important things.
Key.
Because we both can be speaking the same fucking language. Mm-hmm. But when you two are on different emotional levels, intelligence levels, I'm not saying that they're fucking stupid, it's just another level. It's almost like you're talking two different languages at that point.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Prime example, this has nothing to do with a relationship, but it has to do with one of my friends. Back in the day, I had this friend who was absolutely incredible. I thought she was funny as hell. And I used to be very sarcastic back in the day. And she would, and I was doing it in a very joking manner. Uh-huh. She thought I was being fucking serious.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We reconnected years ago, and we just talked, and she's like, Christian, I gotta tell you something. And I'm like, what's up? She's like, I was diagnosed with high-functioning autism.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
Right. Yeah.
Because the things that I was joking around about, she thought she was taking them very literally.
Yeah.
Speaking the same language. But now that I understood that, I knew how to communicate with her better.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's the thing with relationships, too. When you know, like, their emotional maturity, you kind of know how to talk to them. And it's not like talking to them like a child, but it's just knowing how to approach that situation.
Yeah.
Because if it's somebody, and honestly, we probably shouldn't be doing this. If it's somebody that gets very defensive, like, you're almost going to tailor that conversation to make sure their feelings don't get hurt.
Yes.
But it's like, at that point, you're almost not being yourself.
Exactly. And I think that's another thing that was so hard in the last one was I knew that if I said any little thing that didn't make this person feel like everything was magical, it would have been done. And now, saying that out loud was like, that should have been done. That should have never started. Mm-hmm. If you knew that person was that fragile and they couldn't take constructive criticism and that they would take it so to heart, like then I should not have been with that person. I need to be with somebody that's as emotionally available and on the same page as I am. Yeah. Where it's like, if I do something, yes, tell me. I have no issues. Mm-hmm. Let's talk it out until it's done. Like, I have no problem. If you see something you don't like and it's something that I'm not realizing that I'm doing that's hurtful, we can make changes. Or just get to the bottom line, like, if it is a miscommunication. Mm-hmm. But if it's my core authentic being and you don't like it, then it's just not a match.
Yeah. And I say this to all my friends all the time. Like, just because I'm a good guy or somebody is a good guy, it doesn't mean that they're good for everybody.
Exactly.
Like, sometimes you just don't mesh.
Right. And it's like, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Mm-hmm. It's like, come on, that's okay. There's how many billions of people in the world?
Exactly.
You're not going to resonate with everyone, and that's okay. But you have to get to a place where you can say, all right, it's not working out. And I am so good in that place.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's just not.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, for you and I, because we've healed, but we can always find new ways to heal.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like the moment I allow myself to be with somebody else, like, that love is going to feel very different.
Yes.
Because I can admit what I thought love was before, and that was my version of love before, was that I was trying to find all the things that I needed to feel better about myself. Mm-hmm. All the things that I need to fix in myself, I was trying to find that from somebody else. Mm-hmm. Now I realize that that's not love. That was me not dealing with my insecurities.
Right.
Right? But the next person who I am blessed to be with is truly going to be one of those things where it's like, I'm not looking for you to fix me.
Right.
I'm looking for you to be an extension of my happiness.
Right.
And, and vice versa. I want to learn about the things that you love, even though I might not like them, I'm like, I'm going to try it with you.
Right, exactly.
And just be like, you know what, like, at least I tried. I'm going to support the fuck out of you if I really do care about you.
Yeah. Yes.
No? So.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Love should be easy, but it also takes a lot of fucking work.
It does. And like I said, I don't think I'm at a place in my life where I'm able to put in that kind of work.
So, with that being said, great segue. I know you said you're not in a place to be in a relationship right now.
Mm-hmm.
However, when do you think, or how will you know when you'll be in the right place?
Mm-hmm.
And two, what is almost like your cheat sheet on what should be done to be with Jen Johnson Fitness?
Well, how I'll know is right now, like I just started this new venture. We're 8 weeks in.
And still fucking growing.
And growing. So I got to figure out what this is. I mean, how I want to develop it, where it's going to go. And I think once this gets really established and I know what route I'm taking it as a business, because that's the thing. This is a business for me. It's not personal. So all the haters that post all your hate, keep posting because you're just bumping me up in the algorithm. So thank you.
You're giving a thumbs up. I'm doing something else.
It's like, for me, I don't take it personal. You don't know me. And even watching this, you still don't know me.
Yeah.
So to me, I've got thick skin. You know, none of that bothers me. If anything, you're entitled to your own opinion. Like I said, nobody has to like everybody. I just do feel this is going off on a tangent.
Yeah.
I didn't have social media. I've had it on and off for the past few years. I didn't like it. I thought it was so just not for my life unless I was using it for a business or a tool to make money. I don't need it to see what my friends from high school were doing. I don't need it to post what I ate that day or where I went on vacation so people can be envious or look at me. I'm not a look at me girl, believe it or not. This is a business. So thank you for looking at me, but it's not in the sense that people are on my page thinking like, oh, she's a pick-me. Look at the way she dresses. It's like, no, I'm an entrepreneur. That's what I am at heart. I'm a hustler.
Get your money, girl.
That's what I'm talking about. And it's fun. And I want to encourage people. I want to motivate people. And that's a business.
Yeah.
That's not just, flaunting my stuff because I think I got this plastic surgery and I lost this weight and I look so good. Look at me and tell me I'm pretty. It's like, that's not the goal here.
Yeah.
And I think so many people think that is, which is hilarious. Keep posting, like I said. Hey, maybe I am pick me. keep posting about how sad I am.
Pick me, choose me, love me.
It's like, no, if anything, I'm saying the opposite. Like, that's not what I want in real life at all. So it's not. But it's a business. It's a business opportunity. So
I'm glad you understand that.
I do. I just don't know.
Because some people let their social media life become like their actual life.
No.
Yeah.
No. Absolutely not. Because I didn't have social media and I know what it is.
Yeah.
I know what it could be used for. And that's what I'm doing.
And you're doing really well at it.
Right. And I think it's because I don't have that mentality of somebody like that.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. So the other thing is the trolls and the people like that. Like I said, I couldn't imagine going on anybody's stuff and writing something negative. Like, that is not in my soul.
It's because they're protected behind a screen.
But just where in you is not okay. And what did I do that triggered you so bad to put that? To me, it's like, go seek help. Just posting something mean to me is not going to make you feel better.
I was literally about to say that. It's a deflection of who they are. And it's because they feel very negatively about themselves. And as corny as it fucking sounds and cliche as it sounds, misery loves fucking company.
Right. And if they notice I don't write anything back, and you're never going to get it.
All you're doing is helping your algorithm.
You really are. So keep
thank
trolling.
you for that.
Keep trolling. But I just feel bad. I feel bad that people have that much hate inside and people live their lives like that. It's very sad to me.
Yeah, and I kind of saw it the same way too, because when I went through my weight loss journey, as many positives as there was, I actually was the opposite of you, where I took it very personally.
Okay.
Like a lot of the negative shit that came along. And
You were younger too.
I was, much
That's
younger.
why. Oh, guy, if this was me and my
Yeah.
younger, I probably would have signed off by now.
Yeah, but I was like, I thought that those negative comments ruled me.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that now. And that's why I'm like really glad you separate who you are from the social media life.
Yes, for sure.
So, because I can tell you guys, like, I've had the honor to get to know her a little bit better besides from this podcast and through her social media and at the gym. Like, she's much more than what you just see.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's funny, absolutely. Like, she's goofy, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like she's more than just somebody that just goes to the gym.
Right.
And if you talk negatively about someone, not just her, like, it really says more about yourself, and I kind of feel bad for you, to be quite honest.
For sure.
And it's
like I have an empathy.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like one, you're helping the algorithm, so guess what, that's a good thing.
yeah.
But two, it's like at the same time, it's like you need to take a good look at yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you really have that much shit that you want to deflect it onto other people, I'm like, fucking get help. And I mean that in the most loving way possible, because getting help truly changes your fucking
It
life.
really does. It's magical.
And you will have these great fucking friendships that
Yes.
come along.
Absolutely.
And when, like, people aren't ignoring your calls and they show up for your podcast.
Right?
You know, you meet new people that you never would have thought would have ever entered your life before.
Yeah. Magical things happen when you are authentic and you get to the core of who you are, and you're not a nasty person. You're not mean. You don't want to be that. There's no way.
Yeah.
The true being of who you are is not that.
I saw you pointing at the logo. Like,
No, I mean the heart. Technically the heart.
you can buy her merch
You can.
through her page.
You sure can.
Shameless plug.
Shameless. But yeah. So cheat sheet.
Cheat sheet for you.
Woo wee.
Because we already talked about that your number one thing is for them to, like, get the help that they need and really work through their shit.
Yes, you need to heal from childhood trauma. And look, we're like we said, we're not perfect. We're going through it though, and when we notice something, we consciously make a change and or strive to and put all of those tools in our toolbox into practice to become better. And I need somebody that's willing to do that. I don't want somebody that's stuck in their ways of this is this and that is that, or trying to tell me how I should be.
Yeah.
I know who I am. I'm 40 years old. I'm not a child. Like, this is me. I'm not really... Were you thinking about the kids I was dating?
I was going to say, number two, if you need your parents' permission, don't go looking for her.
Yeah, you're out. You're out now. It was fun, boys.
No,
But we're moving on.
Like, thank you for the compliments of it. Yeah, it's probably not going to work out.
Yeah, it's just not. I want, I don't think I ever want to be married again. That's not something that I want
Fair.
to be. Not on paper anyway. You want to have a nice ceremony. You want me to wear a ring. That's fine. Anything on paper, I'm a no.
Yeah.
I don't want anything on paper. Yours is yours. Mine is mine. If you want to have a joint, that's fine. I've kind of, since I got divorced, that was pretty much my mentality. Like, just not on paper. I don't need the government in my my relationships.
Yeah. No, I don't believe you.
Yeah, but, a kind-hearted person, somebody that's funny. I do like that old school mentality of opening the door for me, carrying something heavy for me, even though I'm jacked.
She could carry it herself. So.
I could carry it myself, but, I'm very old school in the sense of a feminine role and a masculine role. I mean, call me crazy and women might get upset, but it's like, I like cooking dinners and I like that being my thing. I don't like taking out the trash. Take out the trash. Fixing the things around the house that I can't do. I really feel like that's a male role. And that could be my age. But I really genuinely do.
Yeah.
Chivalry
is still somewhat a thing for some people.
Yeah. I need that.
Yeah.
I need that. Yeah. I look at, I'm not saying like I'm a masculine woman. I'm not, but
You're definitely not.
but I do, run my own business. I bought my own house, bought my own cars. I mow my own lawn. I fix the crap in my house. And if I can't, I hire somebody. But I try to do all of that myself. Now, that makes me have maybe more of a masculine energy than a housewife that has everything done for her, which I did. I'll tell you that. My ex-husband did everything, and he was amazing doing all those things. And that put me back more into a feminine role. And that's what I want to be in. I want to be more of the feminine, the more taken care of in those aspects. Yes, I've proven I can do it myself very well. But I would like to be more in the feminine role where the man can come and, be like a masculine container for my femininity. And I think that's very hard to find these days. And I think it has a lot to do with the culture of women, wanting to do everything I've done. You can, and it's fun, but it's very hard to incorporate a man into that, and you keep doing that. He has to be a special type of man.
Yeah, so little side note, guys, since you heard what you just heard, like a little cheat sheet there, just remember, put a nail in her tire and help her get it fixed.
That's all it took.
That's all it took.
That's all it took, and fix it fast.
No, I'm kidding though. But before we let you go, I first want to say this has been absolutely incredible. You've been
Thank
amazing.
you. This has been so much fun. You have amazing questions.
Thank you.
And it all just flows beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to do this again.
Yes, for sure.
I will put all her socials in the description below.
Okay.
Is there any shameless plug you want to give?
Not really. Just thank you to everybody that has followed me. Thank you for everything. I don't know which route I want to keep pursuing this. I just kind of feel like the universe shall guide me where I need to be, right? If I just keep being me, we'll see what happens. But just thank you. Thank you to everybody that cares about my story and wants to get motivated. And that's another thing. There's been so many people that have told me, like, you got my butt off the couch. Like, you got me into the gym again. I missed it. You made it look fun.
Which is absolutely incredible.
That's why I started it. Yes, it's become its own crazy monster, but that's why I started it. Just to help people. I mean, I think all of our purpose in life is to serve others. Period, bottom line. And that's what I do through my business. That's what I do through my daily life. That's what I do at my part-time job. I'm here in service to others. I might not know exactly how that's going to translate, but I just keep being me and it will show up.
Yeah, and it's like truly one of those things where it's like success for yourself is amazing.
It is.
But shared success is even much more incredible.
That's the thing, right? Like I said, I do already have a successful business, but I want to do something for others even more. And getting into the gym and seeing how that's transformed my life and a spiritual practice and going to therapy and learning everything and growing and healing and evolving and changing, it's possible for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's the message that I'd like to get out. That's it.
That was fucking awesome. Jen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Christian. This has been great.
Yeah. So my name is Christian from This Is Your Conscience Speaking, and do your intro.
What's my intro?
Like, hi guys.
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? It's Jen. Let's get it.
Thank you all for tuning in. And again, I will tag all her socials in the bottom. And if you want to see her again, make sure you comment it in below or wherever you see this.
Right.
But, yeah. Y'all stay blessed. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.